On June 14, 1960, the nuclear-powered submarine USS SARGO was tied up at Pearl Harbor for what appeared to be an ordinary day in port. The crew was conducting routine maintenance before an important assignment. The following day, Sargo was scheduled to take King Bhumibol Adulyadej and Queen Sirikit of Thailand on a demonstration cruise, a high-profile visit that showcased one of the Navy's newest nuclear submarines. Instead, the events of June 14th became one of the most serious peacetime accidents in the early nuclear submarine program, leading to changes in Navy safety procedures that are still reflected today. The official deck logs show nothing unusual during the morning hours. The submarine remained moored at berth S-1B at Pearl Harbor Naval Submarine Base. The reactor was shut down while the crew completed routine maintenance, inspections, and battery charging. By early afternoon, battery charging had been completed, and preparations shifted toward loading high-pressure oxygen into the submarine's storage banks. This was a standard evolution. Every member of the engineering department understood the process, and by all accounts, the operation began normally. At approximately 4:30 p.m., oxygen loading started in the stern torpedo room. No one aboard expected the next hour to become part of submarine history. 5:30 p.m. Roughly 1 hour later, the deck log records a series of events in remarkably few words. Oxygen hose broke, fire and explosion in the stern room. Those 8 words describe an accident that unfolded in seconds. A leak in the high-pressure oxygen system created an oxygen-rich environment inside the compartment. Once ignition occurred, the fire intensified almost instantly. Witnesses reported flames shooting more than 100 feet into the air through the open hatch. Inside the stern room, temperatures climbed rapidly as the oxygen continued feeding the fire. 2 Mark 37 torpedo warheads eventually detonated in what investigators described as low-order explosions. Although they did not explode as designed, they added significantly to the damage inside the compartment. At the center of the oxygen loading operation was motor machinist's mate, 3rd Class James Estill Smallwood. His official Navy citation credits him with following established safety procedures during the emergency. By keeping the charging compartment isolated from the rest of the submarine, he helped prevent the fire from spreading into additional spaces. Those actions likely prevented far greater loss of life. Smallwood did not survive the fire. He was later awarded the Navy and Marine Corps Medal posthumously for his actions during the accident. According to Robert Stewart's family, Stewart had been working alongside James Smallwood during the oxygen loading operation. As the crew prepared for the evening meal, Stewart offered to let Smallwood eat first.
You go ahead and eat first, James. No, you go on. I'll finish up here.
Smallwood reportedly declined, telling him to go ahead while he finished the task. Only moments after Stewart left the compartment, the oxygen hose failed and the explosion occurred. This account has been preserved through Stewart's family for decades. While it does not appear in the official investigation, it provides a personal perspective on how quickly routine work turned into tragedy. Once the fire began, firefighters from Pearl Harbor Naval Shipyard joined SARGO's crew in an effort to bring it under control. The greatest challenge was the oxygen itself. As long as high-pressure oxygen continued feeding the compartment, conventional firefighting efforts had little effect. The commanding officers made an unusual decision. The submarine was moved away from the pier and the stern was intentionally submerged. Flooding the compartment deprived the fire of oxygen and finally extinguished the blaze. Afterward, a floating crane was brought in to raise the submarine so investigators and recovery teams could begin their work. On June 15th, explosive ordnance disposal personnel entered the damaged stern room. The official deck log records that James Smallwood's body was located inside the compartment and positively identified later that afternoon. Despite the extensive destruction in the stern room, the submarine itself was saved. Following approximately 3 months of repairs, USS SARGO returned to active service. The accident prompted a comprehensive review of the Navy's oxygen loading procedures. Safety protocols for handling high-pressure oxygen systems were revised throughout the submarine force, and the changes implemented after the accident have helped prevent similar incidents in the decades since. James Smallwood's service and sacrifice continue to be recognized within the submarine community. In 1988, a bachelor enlisted quarters building at Pearl Harbor was dedicated as Smallwood Hall in his memory. The June 14, 1960 fire aboard USS SARGO remains an important event in the history of the United States Navy's submarine force. Official records document the sequence of events, the response of the crew, and the technical lessons learned from the accident. Family accounts, such as that of Robert Stewart, provide a personal perspective that complements the historical record. Together, these sources preserve the story of a routine maintenance operation that unexpectedly became a defining moment in submarine safety and a lasting example of professional duty under extraordinary circumstances.